can start with the recording. Thank you.
Done so.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Arjuma, and I'm here with my co-host Pranab to extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you present with us here today. On behalf of St. Joseph's University, School of Life Sciences, Department of Zoology, and the Natural Science Association, we are conducting this webinar, and we hope that all of you enjoy this. We would also like to thank our speaker for the day, Dr. R. Brawin Kumar, who will be speaking on the topic Small Mammal Conservation, Need of the Hour. We have 122 registered participants, and we thank all of you for joining us today. Without further ado, I will now hand it over to Dr. Jaishankar.
Thank you, Arjuna. Thank you, both of you, Pranav and Arjuna, the student coordinators for this webinar on the small mammal conservation. And thanks to Dr. Brawin Kumar also, our speaker for today, who has kindly accepted our invitation to address all of you. Thank you, sir, and welcome online through the MS Teams platform to St. Joseph's University.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you. It's my great pleasure to be with you all.
thank you. Uh, the Department of Zoology is one of the oldest departments in the university, the erstwhile St. Joseph's College. Now, with a postgraduate uh, zoology also being offered, in addition to what was already offered at the undergraduate level. So we have both zoology at the undergraduate and the postgraduate level. And the department's association, the Natural Science Association, is also as old as the department, which is involved in student-oriented initiatives. We organize webinars, seminars, workshops, conferences, national and international. We have associated with premier and reputed institutes in India. All this to inculcate the knowledge, the research, the current trends in the field of zoological sciences. This, as I said, is more student oriented. It has its own core committee. Students are duly elected to the committee and are assigned different duties. The students initiate and oversee all the activities of the Natural Science Association. Recently, we also, in order to cater to the requirements of different groups, where students are interested in different taxonomic groups, we started having a fora. There are forum, and I wish to list the Josephite Forum for Birders, which is involved in regular birding, and then the Josephite Forum for Herpers for the herpetological documentation. The very recently we launched the Josephite Forum for Marine Biology. All these are launched to cater to specific requirements. There are students, of course, interested in broad categories of involving in every working and observing different taxa, but there are specific requirements also for that purpose. The different forum were launched. Ajoma, if you could share the slide for the launch of the Josephite Forum for Mammal Watch. Dr. Brawin, in your presence, we are launching this. In this webinar, the Josephite Forum for Mammal Watch. We will undertake initiatives like we are doing with the Josephite Forum for Birders, Josephite Forum for Herpers, and for Marine Biology. Anything related to the field on mammalogy, diversity, ecology, behavior of mammals, undertaking field trek, field visits, and also organizing workshops and activities related to the taxa. That is here being launched, the Josephite Forum for a Mammal Watch from the Natural Science Association of the Department of Zoology under the School of Life Sciences of St. Joseph's University. I believe the hands with clapping icon can go for the launch of the Josephite Forum for Mammal Watch. Thank you. With that, I will also have to thank the management, the Pro Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Pro VCs, Registrar, Dean, and staff members of the Department of Zoology for all the initiatives that the Natural Science Association is undertaking. So, with all the support, and of course, the Natural Science Association core members and student volunteers, and also all the other participants from different parts of the country who take part in initiatives that we start. Thank you, one and all. I now hand it over to Pranav to introduce the speaker.
Good evening to one and all present. Today with us, we have Dr. R. Brawin Kumar, who is a researcher who currently works as the Associate Manager, Ecological Restoration at the Habitats Trust based in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. He obtained his PhD in zoology from the Institute of Zoology at the University of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Beijing, China. His thesis is entitled The Influence of Quaternary Climate Oscillations on Phylogeographic History and Rain Shift of Lepus yarkandensis. He published 15 research papers and is well known for his work on conserving a rare small mammal, the Madras hedgehog, Paracynus nudiventris, by involving local communities in Tamil Nadu. Thank you for being with us, sir.
Thank you.
And now Arjoma will be playing a video. Arjoma, please do the next slide.
ரொம்ப கியூட்டா இருக்கும் அதோட மூக்கு ஆடிக்கிட்டே இருக்கு actually.
Brawin Kumar is talking about this tiny mammal, the Madras hedgehog. And he's right, isn't he? It is pretty cute. It plays an important role in maintaining a healthy ecosystem by keeping insect populations under control. Unfortunately, though, with every passing decade, its numbers are rapidly declining.
தமிழ்நாட்டில் 32 இடங்கள்ல வந்து ஒரு வருடங்கள் லோக்கல் எக்ஸ்டிங்க்ட் ஆயிருக்கு. அந்த இடங்கள்ல வந்து ஒரு 5 வருடத்துக்கு முன்னாடி பார்த்துருக்காங்க. ஆனால் கடந்த 5 வருடங்களா யாரும் பார்க்கல.
Brawin Kumar is a wildlife researcher who has been gathering information on the Madras hedgehog across 18 districts in Tamil Nadu. His conservation journey began in 2012 during his first encounter with the Madras hedgehog.
போய் பார்க்குறேன், அது ஒரு பின் கொஷன் மாதிரி அப்படி இருக்குது. என்னடா இது இப்படி தான் இருக்குமா, வருமா? அப்புறம் அது பக்கத்தில் உட்காந்துட்டேன். அந்த மொமெண்ட்டு அது நான் அவ்வளோதான், வேறு எதுவுமே இல்லை. முடிவு பண்ணிட்டேன், ஓகே இதுதான் நம்ம பார்க்க வந்தது, இதுதான் நம்மளோட சொத்து. ஸோ அப்போ வந்து நம்ம அதை பாதுகாக்கணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு எனக்கு ஒரு உந்துதல் இருந்துச்சு அந்த டைமில்.
The Madras hedgehog is endemic to southern India and is one of the 17 species of hedgehogs in the entire world. To determine its presence in a region, Brawin and his associate Abhinesh conduct field surveys during the day and spotlight surveys at night.
அதுக்கு வந்து ரொம்ப ஸ்ரப்பான நேச்சர் இருக்கக்கூடிய இல்லை ரொம்ப வந்து ஒரு அடர்த்தியாக இருக்கக்கூடிய இடத்த விரும்பாது. இந்த மாதிரி ஓப்பன் கிராஸ்லேண்ட்ஸ் அதோட நேச்சுரல் ஹேபிட்டேட்டு. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி பகுதிகளெல்லாம் கடந்த ஒரு 30-40 வருடங்களாக மாறிடுச்சு. மக்கள் பயன்பாட்டுக்காக, ரோட்டுக்காக, ட்ரீ பிளான்டேஷன் ஈவெண்ட்டுக்காக அந்த இடங்கள் மாற்றப்பட்டு இந்த அனிமல் வந்து அதை போகிறதுக்கு வழி இல்லாமல் ஒவ்வொரு இடத்துல லோக்கல் எக்ஸ்டிங்க்ட் ஆகிருக்கு. அதனால் வாழிட அழிப்புங்கிறது மிகப்பெரிய பிரச்சனை இதுக்கு.
The very roads that cut through these grasslands also end up being a threat to hedgehogs. They walk onto the roads and lay there to absorb as much heat as possible. This attempt to bask in heat ends up with numerous hedgehogs being run over by vehicles.
இந்த முள்ளெலிகள்லாம் ரொம்ப சென்சிட்டிவான விலங்குகள். ஒரு சின்ன சத்தம் கேட்டால் கூட சரிங்களா, ஒரு குண்டூசி விழுற சத்தம் கேட்டால் கூட டக்குன்னு என்ன பண்ணும், உடம்பெல்லாம் சுருக்கி அவைகள் வந்து சின்ன பந்து மாதிரி ஆகிடும்.
What the hedgehog sees as a defense mechanism, humans see as a weakness. And the best way to understand how and why it is hunted is to reach out to people directly.
ஐயா வணக்கங்கய்யா. ஐயா வணக்கம். வணக்கம், நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா? என் பேர் பிரவீன் குமார் ஐயா. நாங்கள் இந்த முள்ளெலியை பற்றி ஆராய்ச்சி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
Brawin regularly conducts surveys as a part of his research to help him gather evidence from people.
முள்ளெலி மருந்துக்கு பயன்படுத்துறோம்.
ஆமா, நாங்களே மருந்து பயன்படுத்துறோம். குழந்தைங்களுக்கு பிடிக்கிறதுக்கு. அப்புறம் எங்க அப்பாவுக்கு ஃபைல்ஸ் தொந்தரவு அதிகமா இருந்ததுன்னு தலன் போட்டு அதுல தோல் போட்டு பிடிச்சிருக்கிறோம்.
இப்போ நிறைய ஊர்ல என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்கன்னா முள்ளெலிகளை வந்து உணவா வேட்டையாடுறாங்களா அந்த மாதிரிலாம் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. உங்க ஊர் பக்கம் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்குதா? முள்ளெலி பிடிச்சி சாப்பிடுவாங்க.
ஆனா ஒரு 2-3 ஒட்டுக்கா வந்தது.
3
ஒரு 2-3-4 மாதிரி வந்தது. சின்னதா ரெண்டு அது ஓடிடுச்சு. பெருசா மட்டும் நாங்க பிடிச்சிட்டு வந்தீங்க.
முள்ளலி அழகா இருக்குது எடுத்துட்டு போயிடலான்னு சொல்லி அதுலேருந்து ஒன்று எடுத்துட்டு போயிட்டாங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த குடும்பத்தை நம்பி இருக்கக்கூடிய மற்ற குட்டிகளும் அல்லது அதோட தாய் தந்தையோ மற்ற முள்ளலிகளோ வந்து கட்டாயமாக அது முடிஞ்சு போச்சு, அவ்வளோ அதோட வாழ்க்கை முடிந்தது. பட் இந்த பெட்டா பிடிக்கிறதுங்கிறது ஒரு ஹேபிட்டாகவே இருக்குது நம்ம பகுதிகளில். சரிங்களா, அதை பிடிச்சிட்டு வந்து பொட்டிக்குள்ளே வச்சுருப்பாங்க, கூடையில் போட்டு வச்சுருப்பாங்க. போட்டு வச்சுட்டு அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா சாப்பாடு கொடுப்பாங்க, சாப்பிடாது. இது பொதுவாக பூச்சி உண்ணக்கூடிய விலங்குகள், அதெல்லாம் அதை சாப்பிடாது. ஒரு 3 நாள் இருக்கும், அப்படி செத்து போயிடும்.
The list of threats mentioned so far is from humans alone. For a species with an average lifespan of just 3 to 5 years, ensuring its survival under such circumstances is a near impossible task. But Brawin believes the best place to start is with the younger generation.
ஒரு 100க்கும் மேற்பட்ட பள்ளிக்கூடங்களில் நம்ம வந்து குழந்தைங்களுக்கு அவேர்னஸ் கொடுத்துருக்கோம். அது ஆல்ரெடி நம்ம வந்து கூகுள் மேப்பில் போயிட்டு எந்தெந்த இடத்துல முள்ளலி இருக்குது அது பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற ஸ்கூலை சூஸ் பண்ணி நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம், அந்த குழந்தைங்களுக்கு அவேர்னஸ் கொடுக்குறோம்.
முன்னாடி காலத்துல பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா ஏதோ ஒரு நம்பிக்கை, இந்த விலங்கை சாப்பிட்டா நமக்கு நோய் சரியாகும், சரிங்களா. அப்ப வேட்டையாடுதல் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கான்செப்ட் போனதுக்கு அப்புறம் அந்த மூட நம்பிக்கை இன்னும் உங்க போகல. ஒரு நிமிஷம். அப்ப இந்த முள்ளலிகள் மட்டும் இல்லாம நிறைய விலங்குகள் மேல மூட நம்பிக்கை இருக்கு. அது சரியாச்சா அப்படிங்கிற அறிவியல் பூர்வமான தகவல் நம்ம கிட்ட இல்ல. அதெல்லாம் மூட நம்பிக்கையினால நிறைய விலங்குகள் அழியுது, சரிங்களா. குழந்தைங்கள் வந்து நம்ம சும்மா எவ்வளவுதான் பேசினா மறந்துடுவாங்க சில டைம். அப்ப நம்ம காமிக் புக் அப்படின்னு சொல்லக்கூடிய புத்தகங்கள் மூலமா அவங்களுக்கு நம்ம எடுத்துட்டு போறோம். ஒவ்வொரு பக்கத்துலயும் ஒவ்வொரு ஃபேக்ட்ஸ் நமக்கு இருக்கும், சயின்டிபிக் ஃபேக்ட்ஸ். ஸோ எங்களோட முக்கியமான நோக்கம் வந்து எந்த ஒரு அறிவியல் தகவலும் முழுமையா போய் சேரணும், தவறான தகவல் நம்ம பரப்பக்கூடாதுங்கிறது நாங்க எப்பவுமே கான்சியஸா இருக்கிறோம்.
When it comes to invoking a sense of urgency in wildlife conservation, making an impact at a community level is a much harder task than conducting programs in schools. Brawin collaborates with town panchayats and organizes puppet shows to involve locals in the conservation process. And what other way than a powerful storytelling technique to grasp people's attention?
சும்மா நம்ம முள்ளலின்னு சொல்றதை விட ஒரு அழிந்து வரக்கூடிய கலையை ஒரு அழிந்து வரக்கூடிய விலங்குக்காக நம்ம லிங்க் பண்ணியிருக்கோம் அப்படிங்கும்போது இதை மக்கள் நல்லா பார்க்குறாங்க.
ஆஹா, இதுதான் முள்ளலி என்று சொல்வார்கள். இந்த விலங்கானது என்ன செய்கிறார்கள் மனிதர்கள் என்ன தெரியுமா? வேட்டையாடி அழித்து வருகிறார்கள்.
சயின்டிபிக் சப்ஜெக்டை போர் அடிக்காம கொஞ்சம் ஃபன்னா ரியல் லைஃப் ஃபேக்டோட சேர்த்து நம்ம கொடுக்கும்போது அவங்களுக்கு நம்ம ஈஸியா புரியுது. இது ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு மாற்றத்தை கொண்டு வந்திருக்கு.
While working with the locals, Brawin emphasizes on how insecticides are detrimental to the survival of hedgehogs as they are predominantly insectivores. And Brawin's efforts are paying off.
விவசாயத்துக்கு நண்பன் மாதிரி பூச்சி புழுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து சாப்பிடுதுங்களாமா, அதெல்லாம் விவசாயத்துக்கு நன்மைகள் கிடைக்குதுன்னு சொன்னாங்க.
அதையெல்லாம் வந்து பிடிச்சி கொல்லக்கூடாது, நிறைய ஒன்றும் செய்யக்கூடாது, பாங்க விட்டுருங்க, உப்பந்தி ஆகட்டு அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. நான் பாறை மேலே ஒன்று ஊறிட்டு வந்ததுங்க, அது தடி போட்டு தடி மேலே ஏறி வந்து பாறை சந்துக்குள்ள விட்டு அப்புறம் 3 பேர் அப்படி பிறந்த சந்துக்குள்ள விட்டு போயிட்டனுங்க ஊருக்கு. நல்ல உசுர நம்மளாட்டம் அதுவும் பொழைக்கிட்டுன்னு கொண்டு விட்டணுங்க.
Locals' participations in protecting small mammals such as the Madras hedgehog is nothing short of a necessity. But to make an impact on ground, researchers like Brawin require recognition from stakeholders who are in a position of power.
இப்போ நம்ம சார் நான் எலியில் ரிசர்ச் பண்ண போகிறேன், நான் ஒரு ரிசர்ச் ப்ரப்போசல் வச்சுருக்கேன், கேன் யூ கிவ் மீ சம் ஃபண்ட் அப்படின்னா அவங்க ஃபஸ்ட்டு யோசிப்பாங்க எலியா அப்படியே அதுவே ஒரு பிளாக் ஆகுது. அதனால் அந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்தை நம்ம ஒரு 15 முறை 20 முறை நம்ம வந்து முயற்சி பண்ணாதான் 1 இல்லை 2 ரிசர்ச் கிராண்ட்ஸ் நமக்கு அக்செப்ட் ஆகுது.
Brawin's research combined with input from volunteers, news and social media has shown the presence of hedgehogs in 400 places across 23 districts in Tamil Nadu. He believes there's more to be done as the Madras hedgehog isn't listed under any schedule in the Wildlife Protection Act of India. In fact, the world's largest environmental network, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, has still listed the Madras hedgehog as a species of least concern. And one of the main reasons is because there isn't enough data.
இது வந்து பெரிய விலங்குகள் தான் முக்கியத்துவம், சின்ன விலங்குகளாக முக்கியத்துவம் இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு எண்ணம் உருவாகிருக்கு. ஸோ ரெண்டுமே சூழலுக்கு ஒரு அங்கம், ரெண்டுமே சூழலுக்கு முக்கியத்துவம், ஒன்று சார்ந்து தான் இருக்குது. இப்போ இந்த முள்ளலியோட முக்கியமான ஒரு பயன்பாடு என்னன்னா உணவுச் சங்கிலியில் முக்கியமான பங்கு.
Brawin's goal is to create a conservation action plan for small mammals such as the Madras hedgehog, reach out to local and national government institutions to gather more data, and continue communicating with the public to make Tamil Nadu a safer space for wild animals.
Over to Jaishankar sir.
I now request our speaker for the day, Dr. Brawin Kumar, to make his presentation.
Ajoma, you can stop
address
sharing.
our student. Over to you, Dr. Brawin.
Thank you, sir. Now I'm sharing my screen. So the screen is visible, may I know?
Yes, Dr. Brawin, you can go ahead.
Okay. I'm very happy to be here in this auspicious occasion, and very thankful for this St. Joseph University's new, this forum on Mammal Watch, and I'm so glad to be a part with this, great team and great inspiring young minds. And today I am going to give a short introduction about small mammal conservation and what we are doing in Tamil Nadu for last few years. And the thing is, we need to have a, another 1 hour. I'm going to, talk about the, ongoing species, especially small mammal species conservation and its, impact that we are doing in Tamil Nadu. So before we start, I'd like to share about a map. So as we are aware about the extinction, and as we are all aware about these ongoing extinction, things due to human-induced behavior changes and landscape degradation and habitat fragmentation, so many ongoing impacts. But this map is giving some idea about how the Indian scenario, how the extinction level is going. So we did this, mapping in 2014, back in 2014, while I was with the Zoo Outreach Organization, Coimbatore. So during that time, our idea is to map the species that are single location in the world, especially at least in India. So the species that are mostly endemic or critically endangered that are located only in these, Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats and part of Himalayan terrains. But we restricted ourselves with only 4 groups: freshwater fishes, some species of birds, reptiles and amphibians, and few mammals. So and also freshwater plants. So our idea is to see what are the species that are located in a single area, or in a very restricted landscape or very restricted geographic zone. So in the top, if you see this blue color small dot, it is the Chamba in Himachal Pradesh. So there we are about to see the Himalayan ajax, that is the Himalayan gray langur or Seminopathicus ajax. It's a very unique endangered species that is living in those areas, but very limited number. I think it is 1,000 individuals, I think. And like that, so many species are single located and the population is still declining. So on the other way, the Nakandam hornbill on the Nakandam Island is again another one rare species of bird that is living only in the Nakandam Island, and the Badagur Kachika on the other side. And the other important species in these Eastern Ghats areas, we know that the Guti tarantula or the the Metallica tarantula. These tarantulas are living only in few parts in Andhra and only one location in Tamil Nadu. So this kind of information is really taking forward as to what are we going to do for these species, especially the species that are very low in number. Population is not even assessed, but still the population is getting declined. So that is how we started our work on small mammals in earlier days. So what are small mammals? So what we are calling small mammals, generally animals, especially mammals that are less than 2 kilogram in weight, are we generally calling as small mammal. And these non-volant small mammals are nothing but the animals that they cannot fly. Those animals they can fly, which include volant mammals, and non-volant those who can't fly. And when we look at this mammalian diversity, India is a huge mammalian diversity, more than 400 species of mammals we have. So in which, when we look at this, percentage, half of them are just rats and bats. Then we have pangolins. Then we have lagomorphs like this, hares, Indian hare, and we have some tree shrews, and so many other, unique mammal species are there in Indian landscape. But in India, we, are mainly focusing on larger charismatic species like tiger, leopard, lion, and other large, mammals of things. So when we look at these kind of small mammals, they are having very huge distribution. But the sad thing is we don't have much information about its presence, its ecology. Okay, so when we look at this in general, when we look at this, in generally the Lepus nigricollis, we call them as Indian hare. So these Indian hares are again one of the important species. They are they need shelters every day actually, right? They are territorial, having very different kinds of shelters, and they are generally living throughout Indian landscape. These Lepus nigricollis, or we call them Indian hare, are they are least concerned species, but still we don't have much data about its genetic pattern, or how these animals are, how these animals evolved, and what are the ongoing threats, and how we are going to continue holding the species. Because in many areas the population got declined. Only few areas its population presumed to be same level without any destruction. So this Indian hare, or we call them Lepus nigricollis, as their main habitats are open shrubs, and they actually, these animals are having very short legs in the front, and at the same time the back legs are very long. And these animals are widely distributed, but still they have they have to build their nest on the ground due to changes on happened on this landscape. These animals numbers are getting declined. So the other thing is this, when we look at this global pattern, these lagomorphs having three groups like pikas, jackrabbits, and hares, and rabbits. So in this Leporidae, or the family of Leporidae, we used to say that these jackrabbits, hares, and rabbits, the three are the three major groups that are living in this particular kind of Leporidae. So these Leporidae are one of the very important, unique group of mammals under the small mammal category. So that is there mostly in the throughout Indian landscape, but there are some specific areas holding some specific variations within genetically. Genetically, these individuals are having some unique changes. So for one example I told was lagomorphs. But when you look at this bat, this is again an unique fauna. So bats, we all know that there are two types, like fruit eating and the insect eating. So the due to geographical changes, in the past so many million years happened in our continent. These bats are living in different terrains, and these because of these biogeographical zones, or because of the changes happened in this particular landscape, for example Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, the Deccan Plateau, or Himalaya, or Aravalli ranges, some of the changes or habitat fragmentation, or changes happened due to geology or evolution. Many species are independent, or many species are unique. They are trying to prove, they are trying to evolve in such a way that they are becoming in a new species. So the change happened in earlier time is a new way of understanding the area. And the other thing is, when we look at this, the diversity of birds, Tamil Nadu and especially in India, we have very huge amount of number of birds. So when we look at this, globally, that the largest are the big size bat is a golden capped fruit bat. It is 1.2 kilogram, and look at the size, it is 170 centimeters. When we look at this Indian flying fox, which very commonly we can see, so that is Indian flying fox, that is Pteropus giganticus, it is 120 centimeters. When we look at the other least small one, least pipistrine, that is 24 centimeter, and the other is a hog-nosed bat, that is just 2 gram in weight. So when we look at these bats, they are very important in the nocturnal life, and they're having their own social structure and social life. So generally these bats are giving only one pub in a year, very rarely twice, two or twice in a year, and their longevity is very prolonged. One 4 gram of bat is recorded living over 40 years. That means they are having a very prolonged lifespan. And when we look at this, bats, they are having very different evolution pattern, and their immune system is very primitive. Why? Because it is having, it is very unique among mammals, making them reserved hosts for multiple diseases. So these bats again an important thing, and how the trees are important for birds. When we look at this, bats, they are bat colonies, or only actually the trees and the bats are having very close connection, because most of the time they are spending their life in the trees, and very few time they are flying out to get their food, mostly in the evening time, depends on their biology. So the trees are one of the important, habitat for these fruit-eating birds as well as insect-eating birds. But most of the insect-eating birds are, insectivores, and they are mostly living in the caves. So these some of the examples that in the caves, cave bats, and mostly in the abandoned caves we could able to see many species of bats in many parts in country, and these bats are communicating through echolocation. And as you people are zoology and you people are may aware about these concepts. So, and the interesting thing is these bats also sometimes having different diet patterns. So it depends on their behavior and their biology. Some birds will eat insects, some of them will depend on fruits, and some of them are their own I mean their structure, their mouth structure developed only to eat nectar and pollen, and some of them are blood sucking. Or and but India we don't have any vampire birds, but we have false vampire birds, and some of them are like fish eating ones, and some of them are terrestrial, and many of them are omnivorous. So the birds are very important seed dispersal, and also they are very important in the pollination. And some of the different types of mouth patterns are adapted for different activity. Like the first one is adapted for the nectar eating ones. And when we look at this, it's an important rule. There are 528 species of plants are pollinated by birds, bats. So not just pollination, but also directly in seed dispersal, reforestation, and also directly involving in helping in the ecosystem and the food chain. Also, some of the birds are helpful in pollination, and that's how we are getting so much of edible drinks. And other than that, also the important prey for many species of birds and amphibians and reptiles. And when you look at this bad guano, the recent years, there's due to pesticide, there are many changes happened in the landscape. But in many countries, especially Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam, people are trying to take this bad guana or the bad pellets or the fecal material of the birds can be used as a fertilizer. So especially in tropical countries. So in Thailand, the sustainable harvesting licensed by different monasteries. And Myanmar, the cave dwelling mammals are cave dwelling birds are giving much kind of revenue or a source for the local community. And in Vietnam, people are creating artificial roost to encourage the bat colony, or encourage growing the bat colonies within their landscapes. So, and recent our field work in Salem, which where we in Salem in Tamil Nadu, we have observed similar kind of observations. Like local people are actively coming to this kind of caves with the big boxes, and they're trying to collect all the bat guano. So I used to ask why you people are collecting. They told that they are going to use this as a one of the important material for the like kind of a fertilizer, organic fertilizer for their plants. So recent days this change has happened, but the thing is this, due to the change in the climate, due to the change in the physical atmosphere and change in the temperature and the atmosphere, these bats again getting confused of their activity. Their activity pattern has changed due to the changes happened outside. So some of the bats used to go out in the late in the evening. Due to the changes happened, they are going very early, like 2 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. they started flying out. So this is based on a study. Then other thing is the birds are changing their way due to the ongoing changes on the drought, ongoing changes on the unavailability of food. These bats used to change the way because we humans, also the natural disasters made the bats life very critic. So guess, anyone can guess what can be, what are the species can we find in this small hillock? People can guess. Just type some messages in chat box.
Students, you can unmute also and answer, sir.
Generally, what if anything like this kind of a small hillock means, what would be what are the species, or what we can see generally in this landscape? Some kind of lizards, or some kind of chameleons, or some kind of rats, shrews, sometimes porcupine, a hedgehog, something like we can able to see, right? If the species, if the landscape is little obvious, I mean without any disturbance, means we could able to see more species. So the idea is, what we are seeing is this small hillock or the small rocky area holds a good population of this particular species of hedgehogs, and also some other rats. So what are hedgehogs? Hedgehogs are one of the small mammal. In India, we have 3 species of hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are generally, people think that hedgehog means it is coming the British movie, or it is from the cotton movie. But we India, we have 3 species of hedgehogs, and we people are not much. We don't know much about the species because these are nocturnal species, and we don't have any information about its ecology, behavior, distribution, evolution, and its biology. So we don't know much about these species. So these hedgehogs are nocturnal species. Or when we touch these hedgehogs, they roll as a ball. Why? Because their defense mechanism. So these hedgehogs are having cutaneous muscles, and these cutaneous muscles are are having an ability to roll them as a ball. And other than that, these hedgehogs are very sensitive to sound. Because of their low eye vision, these hedgehogs are having more insecurity, right? They're more insecure because they're nocturnal species, and they are mostly adapted to live in these, arid or semi-arid areas. So when we touch these animals, they roll as a ball. Or when any sound comes, they immediately turn into a ball, or they show all the spines, or a kind of a pin cushion. So these hedgehogs are different from porcupine. So what are porcupines? Porcupines are again in mammals, and they come in the family of rodentia. But these hedgehogs are not rodents. These hedgehogs are insect eating animals. They come into the family of insectivora. So when we look at the scientific name, this particular species on the up, that is on the green background on the grasses, this species we call the Madras hedgehog, or South Indian hedgehog, or the bare-bellied hedgehog. So its scientific name is Parachinus nudiventris. But the second picture is the Indian porcupine. So the Indian porcupine is again a common species, least concern, but still these Indian porcupine are come under the family of rodentia, and they're having this gnawing rat, this growing gnawing teeth, or the teeth is continuously growing, right? And these insect eating animals are mostly hedgehogs and shrews. These animals are come under the insectivores. So when we look at this global trend, this in throughout the world we have 17 species. Few of them are in Africa, few of them are in European countries, few of them in Asia, especially India, China, and other countries, and Arabian and Middle East also we have some species. And recently, Chinese people discovered, not recently actually, just 5 years back, Chinese scientists discovered a hedgehog from the high altitude mountain, that is 3,000-meter altitude. So that's how these hedgehogs are living in medium elevation plains, high elevation mountains, and also extreme desert environment, and also in a evergreen forest. So these hedgehogs are living in multiple habitats. So when we look at this, scenario on India, how the hedgehogs distribution. So we have three species of hedgehogs. The first one is Paracynus rudimentaris. That is South Indian hedgehog, or we call the Madras hedgehog. The distribution is limited in south part of India, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, and Telangana. When we look at this other species, that is a Paracynus micropus. That species is living mostly in the Gujarat, Rajasthan border areas, and a bit in Pakistan. The other species, this Hemicynus colaris. Colaris means the collar hedgehog. The collar hedgehog means the ear is very long. So that species is again living in this India-Pakistan border, as well as in desert areas. So why the hedgehogs are important? Why do we have to study? Why it is important, sir? The thing is, these hedgehogs are major role in food chain. And the other thing is, these hedgehogs are one of the main important food for so many birds, so many carnivores, including, some of the carnivores in this particular habitat. I mean, in the south part of Tamil Nadu habitat. And these hedgehogs are, one of the keystone species in this landscape. Why? Because most of the population of hedgehogs are living only in the plains, not in the mountains or even Western Ghats, what we are calling so-called Western Ghats. We don't have much, its presence in Western Ghats. Only 2% of its entire population is living in Western Ghats, and remaining 98% of its population is living in the semi-arid, arid areas in the these areas. So this particular Tamil Nadu area, we have different landscapes. But in south part, we have this Korangadu grassland, Theri soil. These are the unique plain areas that is having, unique holding capacity for this particular species. So when we look at the historical distribution of this particular, Madras hedgehog or this South Indian hedgehog, we have only few, observation records. We don't have any proper scientific survey, or we don't have any proper, scientific research on this particular species. So in 1871, people have, observed this species from, Coimbatore. And when we look at this species in 1907, people have seen in Ramnath district. In 1911, people have seen in Nilgiris. In 1913, it is it was abandoned. It was population was rich in plains of South Tamil Nadu. 1949, it was reported from lower hills of Tirunelveli. In 1949, it was there in Megamalai. In 1970, it was there in Tiruchirappalli. 2001, 2007 from KMTR in Tamil Nadu. 2013, it was from Wire Valley. And 2010 again from Megamalai Reserve Forest. 2014, it is from few areas or few villages in Coimbatore. 2016, it's from few villages in Thoothukudi districts. Because earlier times, our most of the south part declared as a Madras presidency, and this piece is known from some parts of those districts. People could have called it as Madras hedgehog, but the sad thing is, we don't have any proper, information or presence of Madras hedgehog in Chennai or Madras as of now. So other than Tamil Nadu, this Madras hedgehog is known to occur in Kerala and Andhra also. In Kerala, it is from Ottapalam and Palakkad, and also in PTR and Periyataka Reserve. In Andhra, it is known to occur in Alamala Hills, but we don't have any much information. And when we look at the social communication, these hedgehogs are having very poor eye vision. Because of that, these animals, having some issue. I believe that it's having some issue in collecting its food, in a different situation. When in earlier times, their habitat was rich. There were more invertebrates, and more enough food, and so many good diet was there. But the changes happened in recent years. The habitat destruction, the changes happened in recent years made these animals difficult to survive because with less amount of food, and these animals are facing difficulty to collect those pieces. I mean, diet or the food. in the unique landscape. So in the landscape which we are working on, mostly in Tamil Nadu part, where the large scale windmills and large scale changes happening ongoing. The changes is ongoing. So in these landscapes, the different kinds of roads, different kind of construction, the changes, the fences, so many things triggering the species in peril. So as the species are communicating mostly to the to their senses, like as the species having very poor eye vision, but they are having good sense in the ears and the nose. So these nose are always shaking and ears are very easy to grab attention, right? And these species are very unique. Why? Because they are adapted to live in this particular area. Why? This particular arid area, because these spines in their body is again an adaptation to cope with the stress. Because again these animals are urinating very little amount. Also they don't frequently urinate, right? Also the concentrated urine is again an adaptation to live with this kind of a semi-arid, thorny, bush dominated desert environment. Again this spines is adaptation to avoid passing the heat or the cold inside to the body. And again this different species of even if we catch these animals, been difficult to hold, or the we can't hold it properly due to these spines, it will hurt us. Sometimes blood will come. So the changes in within their system or within their biology made these animals are adapted to this particular landscape. But these animals are nocturnal and they are mostly solitary in nature. And they move actually. Their movement depends on the food and also nest or alternate mate or based on the habitat. So when we look at this ecological importance, these animals are mostly insect-eating animals. So they need a good diet they need a diet. I mean, they need actually these insect-eating animals have to eat a lot, especially shrews, these hedgehogs. They have to eat a lot, and also they are actually frequent eaters. They have to eat very frequent times. So when we look at this thing, these animals are eating a lot of insects in these areas, especially in this semi-arid area. So we call them we generally we used to say that these hedgehogs are farmers friendly. So these hedgehogs are not pests. They don't come to farmers' land generally. They are mostly living in the backyard of their home or in the cattle grazing yards, or some are outside or the village outside of the human dominated areas. But due to the changes happened recent years, we observed that these animals are coming to the street lights or under the street lights towards the roads, towards the dumping yards. The changes happened due to the human intervention in the landscape is very huge. Right after the human intervention, these many changes happened. So animal trying to come to the villages for food
Dr.
and other.
Bravin, Dr. Bravin,
Yes,
sorry
yes.
to interrupt. Is the
Yeah, no.
slide moving? We are at the slide where it's hedgehog versus porcupine. We are still at that slide.
Oh, still in the same. Slide is moving. 1, 2, 3. I went so many slides forward, sir.
Okay, it's still there. I believe it's the
Let
same
me.
with the other. If you could confirm.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Still. Oh, now I moved. Can you see? Can you able to see? Sorry,
No,
could you able to
it has
see?
not
No.
happened.
Okay. Just a minute, sir. Let me check with my internet connection. உங்க நெட்டை கனெக்ட் பண்ணிக்குவா.
Okay, participants, stay connected till the speaker joins back. You can all note down if there are any queries, anything that you want to share. You can ask the speaker after the presentation is done.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Brawin, you're audible.
Okay. Okay, sir. I will try to connect again. I'm sorry. Now my slide is visible. May I know?
Yes, sir. It's here with the
Oh,
India map distribution. This is the
yes.
determined mound on the other side. Yeah, the
Yes,
terry
yes, yes.
soil.
So
Yeah, that's it.
yes, on the other side, yes. So these hedgehogs are mostly, preferring this kind of small arid areas or with the termite mounds because these are insect eating animals. They want to eat much insects, so mostly living in and around termite mounds. And may I know my slide is moving?
But now we are still with the India map. Yeah, now it's moved. The historical
Move it. Okay.
distribution. That's right.
Yes, yes, yes. So earlier, historically, these hedgehogs known to occur in most of the south part of Tamil Nadu, especially south part of India. And these are some of the distributions which I had mentioned. And then the distribution of these hedgehogs from the different, states. After Tamil Nadu, we have some population in Kerala and we have some population in Andhra and also Telangana. And these animals are having sharp spines and they are slow moving animals and they are having very poor eye vision and they're communicating mostly through their sounds like their sense organs like ears and nose and their movement actually these animals movements are depends mostly on the food availability, nesting preferences and the habitat. Sometimes they are moved to for seeking a mate also. So their important role in the food chain. Also, I told that these animals are eaten by the raptors, like big raptors. And when we look at these raptors are so amazingly like different colors and different no, so beautiful. How these animals are the birds are beautiful because of the diet. So to maintain the diet, these hedgehogs we need. So that kind of understanding we have to come up with. And also these hedgehogs are important in ecological importance is they are farmers friend. So the hedgehogs are eaten by mongoose, foxes, and jackal. I mean that are the main predators for hedgehogs. And in our south part of Tamil Nadu landscape, we have some population of jackals, mongoose, and foxes. And usually these hedgehogs, generally hedgehogs do hibernation, especially when we look at these European hedgehogs during the winter time they do hibernate, right? But when as we are in this desert area, our hedgehogs do estivation behavior, which we have observed very long back in Tirunelveli in south part of Tamil Nadu. So during the estivation period these animals don't eat anything. Actually they will dig a burrow and they will stay inside the burrow more than a month. So this kind of estivation behavior is again to be with the landscape to it's a kind of their biology to to want them safe. And due to actually the estimation means summer sleep during the summertime, very less amount of food only available with limited amount of water to survive in this landscape means we need much stronger things. So they are trying to hide from these things and they want to take, so they reduce their metabolic activity and they're taking rest. So may I know my slide is moving?
Yes, Dr. Bravin, it's with all the predators and the insects, the food slide, the estivation behavior. Yeah,
Okay.
lack of data. That's a slide.
Oh, yes, yes. So the Madras hedgehogs in peril. Why we have to worry about this species? Already I told that it is one of the important species, and we don't have any data, not even population estimation. We don't have, it's when European people or some other country people are moving forward on researching these animals and they're trying to protect and trying to establish different laboratories and departments and people are doing on ground conservation effort to protect the species. But as we are in this particular part of India, nothing happened these days, but we have to do something to protect the species and the habitat. So what we have to do is we have to intensify our field work and we have to collect as much as data as possible about distribution, habitat, threats, and its biology and conservation. So in this angle, we did carried out a field survey. We did carried a field survey in 2014 to 2017 and again 2020 to 2021. And again we are going to start our next field work this week to the till December 2023. So earlier we carried out spotted surveys and community data collection from 58 locations in 5 districts in Tamil Nadu to study what are the major habitat these animals are preferring, and what will be their ultimate distribution. Why this in some areas they are having patchy distribution, why in some areas they have rich in distribution, why we don't have any hedgehogs in some of the areas. So to understand that, we did our regular field work in some of the lowland hillocks, rocky areas, grasslands, bushes, dried ponds, and foothills of some of the small mountains in selected areas in Tamil Nadu, especially in south and northern part of Tamil Nadu. So based on our field work, we came to know that we have hedgehogs in almost all the districts in Tamil Nadu, including Tirupur, Karur, Tirunelveli, Tuticorin, Tenkasi, Erode, Virudunagar, Namakkal, Salem, Tindikkal, Theni, Madurai, Kanyakumari, Coimbatore, Viluppuram, Nilgiris, that is Ooty, Ramanathapuram districts of Tamil Nadu. And other than that, we also came to know that it's morphology, because these animals are having its own kind of a burrowing structure. These hedgehogs are living in different kinds of burrows. One is the daytime nesting burrows. Actually these animals are nocturnal, but still they used to stay in the daytime nesting burrows. So the daytime nesting burrows are one such burrows. These animals will usually stay in a shorter time, not in a longer time. These are not so much depth, it is very shallow, and this is generally to take in the daytime nap, that's it. But this nighttime burrows are very different, and the nighttime burrows are very sophisticated with all the bushes and all, everything is inside, and they used to take these nighttime burrows after kind of coming back from their feeding session in the early morning. Generally, these animals go out for their hunting, or trying to catch the food in the late evening, like after 5:30 or 6:30 evening. They'll go out and they'll try to find their food, mate, their prey, everything in the night time only. But only few individuals will do these kind of things in the daytime. But most of the individuals which we had seen are mostly from the night time only we had seen. And the other thing is, these hedgehogs are used to stay in some area during nighttime, and their home range roughly estimated to be 2 to 3 kilometers. So they are solitary in nature, and their morphology is very unique, and they keep on moving. Also, we are saying these animals are insect eating animals, but our observation based on their fecal pellets, we observed that these animals not only eating the insects, but also sometimes we observe the plant debris, like plant materials in the fecal material. That means they are able to eat animals as well as, so insect as well as some of the plants from the landscapes. And these animals are having some of the core small hairs on the underbelly, so it is white in color. Why we have to mention this? These animals are calling as nude hedgehogs, or bare bellied hedgehogs. This in the belly there were no hairs as per the literature, but during the type description. But there may be some error. People could have done wrong systematics, or maybe in earlier time, during the time of description of this animal, the hairs in the underbelly may be eaten by ants, or something happened in the specimen. That's why they had mentioned. But during our observation in the field, we found that these animals having good amount of hair on the underbelly, and also these animals having a tiny small their tail. So this small tiny amount, small tiny tail can't visible during the normally we can't see. But when we can able to see during the time it started moving on the sandy areas. What we are calling as the sandy areas or the semi-arid areas, or recent days completely changed. So these days it's very difficult to see such kind of lines drawn by this small tail. And these animals are having unique adaptation to live in this particular area. So this is the first camera trap image taken by one of our volunteers, Surya, earlier 2014, 2015, doing a field work. So
Dr. Brawin, if you don't mind, the slides are in the morphology slide. Yeah, fieldwork results. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, it's coming. Yeah. So this is the first camera trap image of the hedgehog, and from the south part of Tamil Nadu. So when we look at the historical distribution, like in 1832 to 1972, many literatures, showing that this animal, presence were abandoned, and very, population was very huge, and high number of individuals people had seen in earlier, like before 1972. So after 1972, very less information or even no information about its distribution mentioned in many of the research paper. Nothing it had mentioned. So, but the thing is we want to see why the animal is exactly located. Then only we can start the conservation. Then only we can do some research. Then only we can understand about ecology, its movement, or its evolution patterns, or its home range. There are so many questions we can ask. But without understanding why these animals are located exactly, we can't do anything. So for that we did conservation intervention or on field work or on ground field work with the help of volunteers and dedicated people in the landscape. So initially we have carried out two surveys in two different districts nearby, that is Tirunelveli and Tuticorin districts, and we got good individuals, like we have observed 15 live individuals in within a span of within a year time, and that was actually very very kind of an encouraging for us to do more work. After an observation 15 individual animals, and we thought we should inquire about this animal with the community. So the community people have told so many information, like 41 people we have interacted, and 41 direct sighting by the local people documented through our questionnaire survey in these two districts of Tamil Nadu. Other than that, we also carried out our questionnaire survey and field survey in Tenkasi district, Kanyakumari district, and Salem district about its presence and presence absence and its ongoing trend of threats, and we have collected also some roadkills. So interacting with the people is very important role in this particular subject. Why? Because people are often going to this landscape. People are often collecting these animals. People are often trying to release or trying to protect the animals in these landscapes. So interacting with them is one of the important aspect to collect the data as much as we can. But the main important aspect is conducting field work through spotlight survey, through transect walking, through proper survey within the landscape, as well as village, agriculture, hillocks, reserve forest, protected areas. So other than that, we have to connect with the people to get as much data as we can. So totally we have interacted with 1,451 people in the particular landscape in Tirunelveli, Tirupur, Salem, Erode, and Tenkasi district, and we came to know that people are still using this species as a medicine, as a food, as a pet, and so many other things happening in this animal. And so far we don't know anything about this biology or its habitat preference or even its home range. We don't know anything, but still the population is declining due to so many threats, ongoing threats. So we did an analysis based on observation. We came to know that these animals are living like 5.4 percentage of this population are our our targeted species is living near to the houses. 6% near to the water tanks. Water tank means the freshwater body, that is dried freshwater body. 6.6% near bushes, 12.8% near streets, and 57% in grasslands. Grasslands means that semi-arid shrub, bush dominated grassy patches, and 11% near agriculture and pasture land, and very few near the rocks or on the small hillocks or on the rocks. The other interesting thing is, out of 712 people we have we had interacted in Tirunelveli district from 68 villages, 232 people from 38 villages told that they had tasted the hedgehog meat in the way of medicine or a food or a blood or a flesh. One way or other way, 232 people out of 38 villages had eaten the hedgehog in Tirunelveli district. This indicating that the much amount of the people are using for ethnozoological uses is still continuing. So connecting with the people, collecting the data, understanding the things, and we know the population is declining. But what we got is very interesting, that the orange mark, may you know the slide is moving.
Yes, it's come to the new distribution data.
Yes. So I am showing my cursor. So based on the IUCN red list map, this particular hedgehog is known to occur only in this particular orange patch, that is in Tamil Nadu Andhra border, and also two unique patches in the Kerala, the dots. That is what we have as per the IUCN red list. But based on our survey, we came to know that there were more than 400 locations of hedgehogs throughout Tamil Nadu, and from 18 districts so far. And this is some of the new data we got from the fieldwork, as well as secondary data, as well as based volunteer data, as well as citizen science based data that we have collected, that we had collected for so many years. And when we did a prediction map saying that why these species are preferring mostly in this particular arid habitat, why not in the higher elevation mountains? Because the habitat is the habitat is one of the important key character to adapt or hold the species. The second thing is this particular habitat, rainfall, and also the soil type is again, or we call them a microhabitat. This microhabitat is again important character for this animal. When we change or any slight change happened in this particular microhabitat, means these animals may not survive, or the population will be maybe going to be a drastic decline in future or coming years. So based on our prediction map, it is very clear that most of the south part of Tamil Nadu and the central part of Tamil Nadu will be a good place for the hedgehogs. But there are, I think, I don't know whether people can see the small patch of orange where I am showing through my cursor in Andhra also suitable, and few parts in Tamil Nadu Karnataka border also suitable, and few parts in Kerala also showing a suitable location for habitat for this particular hedgehog. So in this regard, we published some research paper about its prediction modeling, its observation, and its new distribution location, and how people are collecting, and human dimension, how people are perceiving this hedgehog as a pest or pet or friendly, how people are perceiving these animals. And we did a small research, and we published about this in very long back on the Traffic India bulletin, sorry, Traffic from UK. And we also did some study on its morphology and appendicular skeleton. Why we got to study the skeleton? Because we don't have any data to compare our species with other two species. Although we have Bombay Natural History Museum specimen, I mean BNHS in Mumbai, but we don't have any specimen, there in BNHS, especially this particular Madras hedgehog specimen. So it is very important to collect a few individuals as a specimen so that the future generation will study. Also, we have to collect some of the non-invasive methods of sample collection to study its evolution, its genetic pattern, its genetic diversity, nucleotide diversity, polymorphic changes, and how is there any bottleneck within populations, and which population we should give first prioritization, or where can we start with, that kind of things. So we know that population is declining, but why the population is declining? That's a big question. So yes, we know hunting is the first issue. It's still ongoing in some parts of Tamil Nadu. Habitat fragmentation is very huge issue, and it is one of the huge issue in almost all the areas, same as Tamil Nadu. And roadkill is happening, and trade and pet, traditional medicine, and diseases. So roadkill, when we look at the roadkill, and please see the last picture in this slide, down on the last picture. So it is actually not the Madras hedgehog, but this is other hedgehog from the Gujarat. But when we look at this roadkill thing, after every rainy season in Tamil Nadu, we are losing more than 1,000 individuals of hedgehogs due to roadkill. So after rain will be a very good time. Why? Because this more insects will come out of the soil. So this particular hedgehogs trying to catch those, particular, invertebrates or microinvertebrates. So for that, sometimes these animals will go to the road. Actually, these animals need heat actually. So these animals do heat basking behavior. So during the heat basking behavior, they sometimes used to take rest or showing their underbelly towards sun, and they're taking rest in the road, tar road. Due to the changes happened, vehicular movements, human, dominated landscape, this behavior, sometimes crushing these animals on the road. So due to this thing, more animals are dying. So what I'm saying is, every rainy season we are seeing more than 1,000 hedgehogs are on road. And then habitat fragmentation is there, and more than 100 years in people, actually people are continuously using this animal as a medicine for breathing issues, childcare related issues, cough, knee pain, and bronchitis. So many, illness, people are trying to use this animal oil, hedgehog spine based oil as a medicine. And other than that, we also collected some. We have also collected some kind of dried skins from different people, and we have documented that also. So we did some trade survey in many villages in south part of Tamil Nadu, and we collected how people are using this. These hedgehogs are being part of their life every day. In my personal observation, these hedgehogs people are kept in the home, right, as a part of a dry skin, or is a hedgehog medicine, or hedgehog oil, or hedgehog spine powder, whatever position. They are trying to keep this their kitchen as one of the important traditional medicine. So we have to do something to to avoid such kind of things, so that the species can be protected. And the habitat is changing a lot. Lot of windmills, lot of habitat degradation, and dumping of wastes. And sometimes the people used to train the local dogs to catch the hedgehogs, and some of the Indian, other Indians, endemic species like the Lepus nigricollis, something like that. And sorry, Indian Nepus legricolis is not endemic to India. Their presence also there in other countries, but these species are located in our landscape. But these trained dogs, one of the major threat to the population, wild population. And also sometimes people used to transfer, or trade, and do like kind of a trade from one location to other location as a pet. And as we know, as of now, in Indian Wildlife Protection Act, we don't have any protection category for these particular hedgehogs. So in this regard, we did some policy level work with the Tamil Nadu government, and we carried out a wide range of meetings with the forest department, especially in head office in Chennai, and also other areas in other offices in Tirunelveli and Thoothukudi, Nagarkoil, and Erode and Salem districts. We are closely working with Tamil Nadu Forest Department to protect this species and its landscapes. So through policy changes, we are trying to collaborate with Tamil Nadu Forest Department to engage with the forest officials to do some activity towards its conservation. And when we look at this hedgehog, information, or when we go to Google and type hedgehog, most information coming in English. We don't have any local language information. So for that, we are, we have prepared few conservation awareness posters about these particular hedgehogs. And other than that, we have to do some kind of conservation awareness guidelines we got to prepare that can be submitted to forest department, other likely stakeholders. Also, we are planning to do some kind of a capacity building program for forest officials in coming years. And when we look at these hedgehogs are living in only few patches, not throughout Tamil Nadu, or not throughout Kerala, or not throughout Andhra Pradesh. Only few patches only we have. Also, the fragmented patches we have to protect. Otherwise, in already 34 locations. Already, we lost hedgehogs from 34 locations. That 34 locations, these animals already went away. That means locally extinct. So if we didn't do nothing, means the animal entire population will go wrong, or the population may be vanish. So we have to come up with a strategy like conservation zones can be prepared, and local students can be encouraged to do some kind of research on these particular species. And live fencing in earlier decades, there were more live fences, but recently, due to the changes, mostly these fences are wire fences, are compound walls. These all changed the basic movement of the animal. Because of less movement, these animals can't go anywhere, because these animals lifespan is 3 to 5 years. So when the landscape is changing so fast, these animals can't live that much, effectively in this degraded land. So some of the education materials or some of the awareness posters we have prepared for the local community. And it's about, telling about how these species are important, why we have to conserve and protect these unique species, and what are the things we can do. So in this regard, we did some, translation of the material from English to Tamil and from Tamil to English we did. And we also carried out some, our idea is to, share about the scientific fact about the species to wider audience. If the species is living in protected area, means yes, the forest department have the major role. If the species is living in a backyard of a home, if the species is living in just, in a cattle grazing yard, or just near their home, who is the responsible to protect? Yes, the local people are one of the stronghold or one of the major stakeholder in this particular hedgehog conservation project. So when we're discussing with different kinds of school kids, especially kids from the urban, kids from the rural, kids from the semi-urban. So the developed urban area set up schools. These kids are not aware about hedgehogs. When we say about hedgehog, they believe about porcupine. Immediately, they their mind is going towards porcupine. They after we show the picture, they know okay, hedgehogs are different, porcupines are different. But when we are going to this rural or semi-rural kind of schools, 90% of kids able to observe or kids can differentiate the difference between a hedgehogs and a porcupine. Why? Because they used to go to the field with the parents, with the grandmothers, get the grandparents. They can able to see. They could able to see the hedgehog, in the field directly. That's why they can able to relate what they had seen and what that I had shown. So the changes in this, the thing is, in this regard, we have created a comic book in Tamil. Now we are going to translate in English through IIT Gandhinagar collaboration. So we are going to bring this particular, comic books in many districts, and we are going to, use this widely. And already we are using this hedgehog comic book widely throughout many schools in Tamil Nadu, colleges in Tamil Nadu, community in Tamil Nadu to teach, to share, to inform about the role of hedgehog and its importance in the ecosystem. So we have to do conservation education, we have to do awareness, we have to do activity with the school and colleges. Why? Because these animals are living within the school premises itself, within the college compound, within the college classroom itself. Actually, there are many colleges in Tamil Nadu where I had seen hedgehogs living within their college campus. So it is very important to give trainings, awareness sessions, general workshops, or kind of informal discussion with each and every college students, so that the people could at least to protect whatever they have, the last remaining species or population of fragmented hedgehogs in their landscape. So in this regard, we have started the school student initiatives and community initiative, and we're not only teaching about hedgehog, but we're also teaching about other species of mammals that are there in the landscape, like a pangolins, or the some kind of a rats, or some kind of insect eating, or fruit eating birds, or so many different things we are sharing. So whatever we are learning or whatever we are seeing from the field, and we are translating or transferring the little knowledge through active teaching learning tools. So far we have covered 26 mountain, 26 schools that are located in the high elevation mountain in Salem district. And also we are carrying out continuous conservation awareness with the, kind of, village community, with a kind of, different stakeholders from the forest department, from the, schools, from the village. And we are trying to involve the kids. We are not just showing a PPT and going away. We are going to interact with them. We are going to take their valid points. We are going to involve them to collect the hedgehog presence data, to collect hedgehog behavior data, to collect hedgehog citizen science data through the school students, through the college students, through the community. So without involving different stakeholders, I think we don't get our final objective of last remaining few population of hedgehogs in Tamil Nadu. So we have developed a few hedgehog friendly schools initiative where we are regularly interacting with the schools, and we are giving some of the books, and we are sharing about hedgehog stories and its behavior, and we are also listening how students are telling about their observation, because they are living in that particular landscape, and they are well aware about the hedgehog, and they know about how they behave and what they do. So we are very happy to see how they are coming forward and sharing their information and sharing their points, and we are encouraging these kids, and now they are giving some information about its presence, and also many details they are coming from their end. And also we are giving some kind of games, activity. We are involving the kids towards different activity based sessions, and kind of a teaching, and kind of telling about the conservation education and its role, and role of different species, and role of different habitat, and how these animals evolved, how these animals adapted to live in these landscapes, why we have to maintain such kind of healthy ecosystems. So in this regard, recently we have carried out different set of capacity building programs for forest officials in Tamil Nadu. about hedgehogs, how forest officials can involve in hedgehog conservation initiatives, and how people can coming forward, and how to rescue, and what are the things we have to follow during the you know rescue operation, and so many things we have informed with the forest officials. And it was a very good to see the forest officials of Tamil Nadu is really stepping forward to do more research and more work on hedgehog conservation in south part of Tamil Nadu. And we're also involving this the local rangers, local forest officials with us, and towards the conservation journey. And in this regard, we used to link our endangered or the rare hedgehog species with one of the endangered, or one of the art form is called tolpavikuthu. Tolpavikuthu is a kind of a shadow puppetry. Through the shadow puppetry, we are trying to teach, are trying to share about the importance of different species in the landscape, what are the threats it's facing, how can you help to protect the species. And totally we have carried out 16 villages and 14 school programs with the local community, and kids are very actively learning. Kids are actively asking so many questions, and they are trying to understand much better from, or much they are trying to learn much through this particular puppetry art. So this art is a medium to share the valuable points of the animal conservation, especially the small mammal conservation, to a wider audience. So it is easily connecting, in a such a way that they are trying to understand better. So people are understanding, and people are changing their behavior. People are trying to apply what they have learned through our classroom sessions, and also through our our art puppetry sessions. And it was indeed that people are taking steps, and through our initial this kind of interaction with the people, regular visits, regular group discussions, or kind of meetings, or people are trying to find people are trying to somehow adapted to do not to do harm to wildlife, or now people are slowly changing towards the conservation aspects of small mammals, not just small mammals, also some other mammals that are there in that particular landscape. So moving from the field work, from research publication, moving from data collection towards people, collecting the people, how people are perceiving, how people are taking these things forward, how can we take these things to the people, so that people in the landscape are ready to do what is needed to protect the species, right? So that kind of things that we are doing at present in some part of Tamil Nadu. And this also, when we are talking about this this kind of a drama or kind of a puppetry art, we not always telling about hedgehog or some other unique species. Some comics, some fun filled information, some kind of jokes, some kind of connecting points always there. Like in the first picture you see, please, the chameleon is there in the landscape. These kids used to kill chameleon because of the less awareness. They think it is going to bite us, we are going to die, this kind of behavior, because of their poor knowledge. So once we drew this one in a puppet form, and we are trying to explain people, especially kids, are easy to grab the scientific information correctly. So in coming days, we observed that people are having less aggressive with this particular species of chameleons, or whatever it may be there in the landscape. And it's easy to gain attention. What we're doing is for the people, and the people are going to be there on the landscape. Bravin, Kumar, or my volunteers will be there, but not all the time. The people are going to be there for a long time, so they are going to take initial steps. So as we are the facilitators, we are facilitating the people to start engaging. We are engaging the people to do something to good way to protect the species, not harming the species and the landscape. So students are active part in those puppetry shows, and still we are continuing our puppetry shows once in a month. Like 2 or 3 programs we are doing once in a month regularly in Tamil Nadu about these aspects. And also we are engaging these art people. These art people are actually, this is a vanishing art. So we have to do connect this art form with the small mammal conservation, and it's ongoing. So other species is pangolins. We know that we have 8 species of pangolins, 4 in Asia, 4 in Africa. In India, we have 2 species. the Chinese pangolin and the Indian pangolin. So the Indian pangolin is one of the common species, but now it is very, very rare. It was a common species very long back, but recent years, the pangolin numbers were declined due to hunting, uncontrolled poaching, and some habitat changes, modifications, and population is peril. So in this regard, we are doing some work on pangolins in some part of Salem in Tamil Nadu. And these pangolins are one of the again important species, and they are insect eating, and every 1 hour they are eating 1,000 insects. That means huge, right? So that's how they are important part in the ecosystems. So in this regard, we prepared a comic book about pangolins in Tamil. Why we need a comic book? Because these kids are thinking the pangolin means anteaters. They are some other country. They don't have any much information about pangolins. Very limited information. So to engage with the kids towards their understanding, to encourage their understanding knowledge. So we made a comic book about pangolins, and we have distributed this in many schools in Tamil Nadu, and it is still our conservation education programs are still ongoing, and we have so far carried out like a kind of 40 pangolin conservation awareness programs in 40 schools in Tamil Nadu so far. And involving community, yes, is very important part, as I told earlier, but towards a single mission like Save Hedgehog. In that regard, we carried out conservation, community-based initiatives in Tamil Nadu, and we also involving so many, panchayat presidents, so many, village heads, village administrative officers, revenue inspectors, and like-minded people in almost all the districts. We are trying to collate the people and, trying to conduct education programs, and we are also involving the local panchayat presidents, because these areas the landscape is continuously changing. If we didn't involve the local panchayat or we didn't involve the local, heads, maybe the landscape may change, but the people are not aware, right? So involving the people, giving training is one of the first primary objective of our hedgehog conservation mission. So we are continuously increasing our awareness setup with the different sets of people in both in Salem district in Tamil Nadu, as well as some parts in in south part of like Tirunelveli, Kanyakumari areas also. So to the next level, so involving the community to the entire day, right? So bringing the community together to one place, and we have to inform about our goals, and we have to learn from them also. What is the cropping pattern, how people are connected with each other, how the social structure, how people behaviors, and how they're collecting the water from, how their situation of the landscape, how the forest, so many things we are interacting. So through our this particular participatory rural appraisal, we are trying to connect the people, and we are collecting the data so that we can use the data as our primary data, so that we can do something on the policy, we can do something on the policy or action, so that the forest department can do something for these particular people. So we have carried out so many participated rural appraisal programs with the people to connect with the to connect with how people are able to help, how people can help towards our hedgehog conservation mission. And then we also had some activities towards understanding the
What are you? No, it's not there. What are you saying? No. I thought it was. But yeah.
People, put your
strengthening.
thing on hold. Mike, yes, sir. Please continue.
Yes. So strengthening the village VFC. What is VFC? VFC is nothing but Village Forest Committee. So Village Forest Committee is formed by the Tamil Nadu Forest Department. So strengthening this forest committee is one of the important aspects, so that the committee will do something better to the within the village, within their landscapes. So although we are mostly working on these particular small mammals, especially hedgehogs and some kind of rats named Elvira rats and pangolins, and in so many small creatures which we are working. And it is very important to connect the people, because for this particular kind of rodent study, for rodent study we used to do use Sherman traps to catch the animals, and we have to understand its behavior, morphology. So we used to do some morphometric analysis, also some genetic analysis. So whatever it may be, we are going to use the habitat, or we are going to use the entire landscape that is managed by the forest department or either by the people. So once we are going to assess the, or access the area, we have to keep informed about our work with the community. And then we also want to know how community are connected and how community are involving in protection of their landscapes. So it's a kind of a two-way communication. So through our meetings, we are also trying to, encourage the village forest committee members to strengthen the committee. So we are also supporting, a kind of, meetings, organizing meetings with the help of forest department. And we actually, we are just connecting the forest department with this particular kind of village people wherever the animals were reported. So this is our, conservation journey which we had so far. And it's time to thank our financial and academic support, and we have received financial support from various institutions, including ZSL Edge, IISCR Tirupati, and the DST, Department of Science and Technology, New Delhi, and the WWF India, IUCN Red List, Idea World for the support of the equipments, and Ravi Shankar Inlax Fellowship, and Small Mammal Specialist Group of IUCN, and Talltech Tanija Aircraft and Aviation Limited, Hosur. They are our CSR partners, and we Life Trust India, and something like the multiple partners and collaborators. And it's a time to thank for their efforts, and their continuous support towards our hedgehog and or other small mammal conservation mission in south part of India. And thank you for the organizers. And any questions, please?
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful talk. This was very informative and really enlightening. And it was a beautiful introduction to small mammal conservation. And it was also really inspiring to hear about the work being done in this field. We will now be opening the floor to questions from the participants. Participants can raise their hands and please ask your questions when called upon, or write it down in the chat box. Anything is open. Raman Kumar.
Yes, hello, good evening to everyone. And sir, sir, you mentioned interacting with the local people during conducting while you're conducting your surveys, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned how they give valuable insights about their interactions with the animals, and they help you learn more about the animals basically and their behaviors. And my question is that you also mentioned that the local people might sometimes believe superstitious things about the animal, which results in them hunting the animals for medicine and stuff like that. And how do you talk about those things? How do you bring up the problem of hunting to those people? And are they usually receptive? Do they listen to what you're saying, or do they get offended? How do you manage that?
Yes, good question. So during our question, actually two kind of things I'm going to explain. One is during our questionnaire survey, during our informal discussion. So two things. So during our questionnaire survey, the questions are very straightforward. So during our question survey itself, people are a little bit, not happy to answer such questions. So the people kept quiet, and only very few, like to, answer what they had eaten, or how, or when such, incidents happen, and with whom, or the details they will give. Only very few, but most of the people don't give because they're afraid. But when time goes, we know that it's happening. So our interaction is not just collecting this information from the people. The people are eating because they have their own beliefs, they have their own, ideologies, their own thinking. So our idea is to change their behavior, right? We are not going to change, without having any, like it's a kind of, we want to change that kind of behavior so that the people can stop. So verbally we will say, please try to reduce in a polite way. We are trying to connect with them in a such a way that people can easy to accept. It is not kind of superior kind of thing. It is a kind of a informal discussion. This is what happening. This is what happening. You please share your suggestion. How can we stop? This is how we'll interaction. Our interaction will happen. Continuously we'll do. So at some point in some areas we heard that in some areas people stopped using this training the dogs for hunting the hedgehogs. One thing. The other thing, in some areas people have started observing the hedgehogs, but they are not going for hunting. Actually they are just going to see the hedgehogs, taking photographs, like the local village kids or the adults. After our programs they went, they're trying to catch some photos, and they just come. They don't catch, or they really don't kill in some areas. So these kind of changes happened, and as of course more people are much aggressive in some areas, we have to use different kinds of conservation outreach method in such areas, like a kind of group gathering, informing about its hedgehogs and other species presence, and how population declining, and how we can work together, how can support something, like kind of positive words, not a negative one, but a kind of a positive words, how we can do, how we can collectively work together and save the species, something like that kind of like kind of that kind of thing worked. And other thing is, people will be more easy to open up when we were very open, and we're trying to go to their level and ask, means they're ready to come with us, help with us, with slowly we teach and trying to reduce. And there are many people, they already quit, or slowly reduced their hunting behavior in south part of Tamil Nadu. We have many contacts those. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. There's actually also a question in the chat box by
Yes.
Rukia. So how do you convince people that small rodent like mammals can also be a keystone species and are as important as, say, tigers?
Yes. So we used to say that tigers are also important. These small insect-eating animals like insectivorous hedgehogs is also important. These rodents are also important. With some examples, if we say these hedgehogs are eating numerous numbers of small invertebrates, microinvertebrates, if that doesn't happen in a correct time period, then definitely the number will increase. That will directly or indirectly affect the ecosystem, like agriculture areas, or that will directly affect our like the population of these insects will go up. And the other thing is, each species are interconnected, right? So we have to explain how these species are interconnected with each other. Then the other thing is how the habitat destruction have directly devastated, or declining the species in peril. So these are some of the key points which we usually to address in Tamil language to the people. So people used to say their insight also, because of this particular industry came, these hedgehogs went away. People will say like that. Sometimes people will say because of this so many windmills. People used to say because they know about their landscape very well than us, or just myself. The people know about the landscape better actually. Thank you.
All right, sir. There is another question in the chat box by 221Z0015. Sir, if you are tipped off of people illegally trading pangolin scales or hedgehog skin or oils, what are the steps you take, and are they fined or jailed if they are caught?
We have given the information about the locations, and the information about the hedgehog trader details, research papers, and some of the photographs, and some information about the hedgehog medicinal collections, or some of the Ayurvedic shop details, everything to the Tamil Nadu Forest Department and also district forest officials, including Wildlife Crime Control Bureau New Delhi, Wildlife Crime Control Bureau offices in Kerala and Chennai offices. So now people are taking steps, and legally steps already works already initiated, and Tamil Nadu government is now taking it forward, and they're going to bring with a kind of action plan. So in this regard, I have submitted a policy document to Tamil Nadu government also to change some of the policies in in this particular aspect of conservation, how species can be studied well, and how more awareness can be generated, how this kind of medicinal property or kind of Ayurvedic shop collectors are continuously collecting these medicines. And some studies planned by the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, and with the help of some other collaborations, like some study already planned, but still we have to wait further more time to bring a final like kind of more clarity we have to bring, but we have to wait for some time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Does anyone have any more questions? Please raise your hand, or the chat box is open. Okay, then. Since there does not seem to be any more questions, right. If there are any more further inquiries, we will be sharing sir's. Okay, there is a question. Sorry. So have you ever come across locals, tribals, or such communities where they have associated such animals with religious beliefs?
Yes, superstitious beliefs there in like a few villages. Yes, we come across during some kind of rituals. They used to have their dead skin of hedgehog during kind of a midnight kind of thing. So people are there to use some parts of hedgehog, kind of a hedgehog skull. Some people use. Sometimes people use the entire body. Some people use the live individuals. There are few villages, yes, we came across, but still, you see the like the majority of the things are happening on ground. In my understanding, is people collection for medicine. People, the animals are dying on the roadkill, and the habitat is changing and so fast, and the roadkill. So these kind of things we have to first prioritize, and then there are few population to be at least few areas to be declared as a conservation reserves, or must be protected as conservation zone, or protected area status, so that at least some population can be initially protected. Then we have to set up a kind of volunteer, or kind of a group of interested people, so that the people continuously raising awareness in those fragile areas where people are doing much on these ritual things and collection for their own this kind of so this kind of people based conservation things, we need more volunteers, and we need more dedicated peoples to go with us on ground. So due to lack of that, we haven't done much on this particular areas where I am mentioning about this ritual thing. Thank you.
All right. There seems to be no more questions, but if people do have any more questions, we will be sharing Brawin sir's email ID in the chat box soon. Now, Jaishankar sir would like to say some words. Over to Dr. Jaishankar.
Yeah, thank you, Arjuna. Thank you, Dr. Pravin, for giving that detailed presentation focused on the hedgehog, the pangolin, and other small mammals, their ecology, and the call for conserving such species. You rightly said, we look for the big cat, the large mammals and animals, but the smaller ones are lost. So in that process, so I hope concerned authorities also take up and also get to see the hard work people like you do on ground. And also to continue, I hope our PG students are all listening this actively. You said the distribution is more touching Kerala, parts of Andhra and some parts of Karnataka, and more in Tamil Nadu. Maybe some collaboration, or in future, if our students were to take up some surveys and get to find, now that we have launched the Josephite Forum for Mammal Watch, something comes, we surely will try to reach out to you, Dr. Brawin, in
Yes, sir.
future.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Jaishankar, for the opportunity, and I'm very happy and thank you for inviting me for this particular talk. And I think we have another one question on the chat box.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. I think.
Ajoma, would you like to? Yeah.
Yes, sir, I will. So the question is, if the hedgehogs, I'm guessing, are made as pet, can their populations be improved?
Maybe not as a pet. When we look at this India, this zoo thing, we don't have any Madras hedgehogs in none of the Indian zoos. So I think, bringing few of them in the Chennai, Vandalur Zoo or Kurumbapatti in Salem Zoo or Amity Zoo or somewhere in, some of the zoos, maybe we can have some population, right? First thing. Pet means people used to feed carrot or some kind of food for a short time. And after a week or so, it will die definitely because they're insect eating animals. They're ferocious eaters. We have to give a lot of food in a very frequent time. So when I was with, when I was, having one individual during our, 2013-14 surveys, so we used to give like 200 to 300, different, I mean, 7 to 8 species of, invertebrates. And within a 2 hour or 3 hour short period of time, it is, easy. It is very frequently eating, and it will complete the 200 or 300 individuals of, invertebrates in a very short time. And they'll give a small gap, then again they'll start eating. So I don't think whether people can easy to, this, people can I mean, there are so many, pet shops, and we have African hedgehogs in India, especially in Tamil Nadu. So many pet shops we have, different other albinic hedgehogs also we have. And people are, rearing it properly. Yes, I agree, but I think we have to give a try through the, proper channel. So we have to approach the Tamil Nadu Forest Department whether they can, help with this, so that we can try whether, this can be reared outside of a, area, very close setup, like a kind of institute. People can, especially that, some scientific people can rear, or some pet, holders or pet owners can, rear these animals, so that, we know what to do. That may be possible, but I'm not sure. But my suggestion is better we can use the facility of the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, and maybe we can keep few in the zoo, like Mandalore Zoo, or some zoo in South India or South Tamil Nadu. So that may be useful. So I think, but just by people, or for the people, or through the people keeping or encouraging pet by the people, or through for the people, maybe it is not a good idea, I think. Thank you.
Exactly. I would like to join in adding that. Yeah, any captive breeding initiatives by government authorities would be better, because even if the intention were to be good, it might turn out to be a trade in future. So
Yes.
what you rightly said, Dr. Praveen, that give it to the authorities.
Yes.
With that, we have come to the end of this webinar on small mammal conservation, the need of the hour, organized by the National Science Association. We have also launched the. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, can I ask a question to sir?
Yeah,
please.
I'm a little
Please
late,
introduce yourself and then proceed.
So my name is Varun. I'm from Coimbatore, and I've seen hedgehogs in Kalangal grasslands and all. And recently I went back to Kalangal grasslands, and like practically 80% of the land has been plotted and like fenced, cemented, and like the roads are tarred and all. So like obviously there's poaching, hunting, and those things are huge problems with hedgehog populations. But like what do we do about habitat loss? With like it's just private owners selling their lands, right? Like is there anything that we could do?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, first of all, and I'm very happy you are from Coimbatore. And there are two things I like to share. So, are you in a I mean, planning of doing any work in that area, or what are you thinking of? Because we recently got a permission from Tamil Nadu Forest Department to study hedgehogs in Kalangal itself.
I actually didn't know Kalangal was a reserve.
Yeah,
I've seen them thrice there. I've seen them twice at night, and I've seen them once in the morning.
Okay.
But then those areas are again, they got the quarry, they dropped their stones there, and also we stopped going there.
Yeah. So we got the Tamil Nadu Forest Department permission to study hedgehogs from 6 districts in Tamil Nadu. That permission came just 2 weeks back. So we are starting our surveys in part of Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi, Salem, not Salem, Erode, Tirupur in Kalangal, Coimbatore areas, and in Tenkasi districts and Ramnath Sivagang area. So we are going to start our survey soon. So if you think you have some time, or you are about the area, right, how the things are happening, because we are regularly visiting those areas, Kalangal and the around those areas, this entire the landscape is completely changing. We have to do something, otherwise nothing will be there, I think. That developments and the improper way of planting trees in all those areas without understanding the landscape. They are randomly planting so many new trees, or some that need to be understand, to be revised, or need to be someone have to go there, and we have to teach some of the things to those areas. But the thing is that we sure something is happening in those areas, Kalangal Vanam, yes, and Kalangal, around the Kalangal area and Kalangal village. So we are in the step of initiating a proper study in those areas from this January to till the December. We'll be studying this these animals, and how we are going to protect at least last remaining few hedgehogs in this Kalangal area. So if you are interested, maybe we will collaborate and we'll talk about much through Professor.
Yes, sir. I will definitely try to contact you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, then, Dr. Brawin. There's also the formal note of thanks. Thank you for accepting our invitation to address our students, to highlight the conservation initiatives that you are involved in. I hope the students will also try reaching out to you through us in future. I take this opportunity to thank on behalf of the management, the Pro Vice Chancellors, the Vice Chancellor, the Chancellor, the Registrar Dean, and from the staff members of the Department of Zoology. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be the resource person for this webinar on small mammal conservation. Also, thanks to the student coordinators of this particular webinar, that is Arjioma, Pranav, and also Abhishek. Thank you for putting things together right from the brochure, contacting the speaker, and setting up the meet, and all the other background work that you did. Thank you, all three of you. Thanks to all the NSA core committee members, and also the student participants and faculty and participants from other colleges who have joined the meet. Thank you, one and all. The feedback form is, the link is shared on the chat. Please access that for your certificates. In future, this may be the webinar recording may be available on the NSA YouTube channel. You can look into our social media handles through the Instagram, Facebook, regular updates. The Natural Science Association has also launched a newsletter, monthly newsletter, Natura Zoologia. Anybody interested, please write green cartoons or interesting articles, or share snippets like any new discoveries that are happening. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Brawin. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Jaishankar, and thank you for the administrative team, and thank you the principal secretary and the concerned people and the student coordinators. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. You can all leave the meet as you fill up. Pranav, you can stop the recording. Pranav is with us. Yeah, please fill up the feedback form and you can leave. Arjuma, can you contact Pranav, call him and ask him to stop the recording, and then we can all leave the meet.
Yes, sir.